Welcome in to another Drafters Wednesday. Been doing this every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're running a little bit behind today. We were waiting on the big main event to fill, and unfortunately, that was taking a little bit of extra time. So we hopped into the Best Ball Championship Mini. We are still waiting on two more people to join this one, and then we'll go ahead and jump in. $125,000 in prizes in this one, as opposed to the $2.5 million up top in the main event. But still a fun way to draft. Look at some ADP changes, some risers and fallers, and today joined by a very familiar face. Alfredo, how does it feel, man? Like me being in the host chair on this one and you in the second chair. This is weird. I feel like I'm having a fever dream.
I gotta say, it feels great. This is like when my wife says, "Don't worry, I'll drive," and I'm like, "Really?" And then I just hang out as a good little passenger princess. So yeah, I'm excited. I am a little disappointed though. You promised me 2.5 million. We're getting 125,000.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a $3 entry, and these are fun too. I think that like this is still better than mock drafting, having a little bit of skin in the game, still worth a little something here. Of course, we love the big prizes. Dan Hendry won $500,000 last year, taking down the main event, but still plenty that we can win here as well. So waiting for this one to kick off. Alfredo, you and I just recorded it. It is not out yet. So a little sneak peek here, but we just talked through our favorite picks in the first 4 rounds. So we have already spent an hour leading up to this show talking through these first 4 rounds. Based on the conversation we have, I think I know who you want at number 3. Bijan Robinson would be the primary choice, right? And then probably CeeDee Lamb. I don't think we're getting Jamar Chase there, but is that kind of what we're thinking with this first pick? Just throw Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, and CeeDee Lamb in the queue and take the last one standing?
Yes, that is exactly how I would do it. And good on you saying Bijan. That is
Bijan.
the proper pronunciation.
But also, like, if you're
David.
Bijan Robinson, like, you made a Dijon mustard company based on your name.
Well,
Like, you
no,
had, like,
hold on.
do
It's
people call
also
it Bijan?
it's also Dijon mustard. Like this is a fun way for you to find out you've been pronouncing that wrong too.
Apparently so.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
We got a No Cap Mac in the chat saying, "Yo, how we doing, fellas? We are doing great. It is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and we're drafting a fantasy football team to win some money. It doesn't get much better than that. So, yeah, this first one, this is going to be an easy pick for us here, regardless of who we walk away with. Something else we talked about a lot in this episode that we just recorded is kind of letting the players fall to you in these early rounds. Don't try to force positions early on. And it's really hard to say, like, I really like drafting 0 RB or I really like drafting 0 wide receiver this year. I think that you kind of just let the board fall to you. And then those early picks will dictate how the rest of your draft should look. So, nothing too surprising here. Jamar Chase going off the board as number 1, Bijan Robinson going off the number 2. And this is, we're in agreement here that CeeDee Lamb is the pick, right?
Easy peasy. Yeah, CeeDee.
Cool. Now, another thing coming to drafts, something that I have just been doing relentlessly in almost all my drafts this year is waiting on quarterback, trying to be the last person to draft my QB1. And I even did it yesterday. I was doing a fantasy alarm mock draft, which was a super flex draft, and I still waited until round 6 to take my first quarterback. There's just so much late round quarterback value this year that it's really hard for me to pay up. And is that something you're doing as well, Alfredo? It's so funny doing the show with you because I know the answers to all of your questions. I'm just setting you up to talk, basically.
It's like going on like a first date with your wife.
With your wife?
Comparing you to my wife. But like, yeah, man, because like you're my work wife and I'm your work wife. I guess we're both each other's work wives. This took a weird turn, but yeah, like it's just we know each other so well, and I know that we get on one of these things, and you kind of have to like ask, "What's your opinion?" But yeah, man, like I'm going for late quarterback every single time that I can, just because like we've seen that late round quarterback is still working, and especially with these running quarterbacks, and there's so many quarterbacks especially later on in average draft position that just have that upside. We've talked about a couple of them like Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May. I mean, heck, you can go even as low down to like Bryce Young, who's being drafted as like quarterback 24 or 25, who's still got top 12 upside. And if you can get that and not really have to worry about forcing a quarterback pick early in your drafts, I love that, man. Like, I don't want to be reaching on a guy like Baker Mayfield or Patrick Mahomes in one of the, like, I don't know, Dave, 5th round, 6th round on some of these guys. Like, it just feels so early.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll probably see, it wouldn't surprise me before this pick we have at 27 in round 3, we'll probably see Josh Allen go off the board before then. Shortly after Josh Allen, you see Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels. And I understand these guys could be difference makers, but the opportunity cost to have to pass up on a Chase
Right.
Brown or Jackson Smith-Njigba to get a quarterback, I just can't do it. Want to call out real quickly. We got a No Cap Mac again saying, I do a ton of these drafts on drafters. Would have hopped in this lobby if I knew you were here sooner. We're doing this every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So feel free to hop in any Wednesday at 2 p.m. and we will be in that, typically doing the main event. But like I said, missed out on that one this week. We've got a good friend, Michael Vidala, big fan of the show, saying, living that great summer vacation teacher life, catching all the live drafts, getting me in the spirit to rip an underdog draft. Underdog is great, but we would recommend drafters. We're doing 100% deposit match for all new users. So Drafters Fantasy Football guys is the promo code to get that 100% deposit match. So here we are, back to us, Alfredo, and let's take a look here at some of the players available.
All right.
We see Lamb with our first pick. Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, E. Irving, Trey McBride just went off the board. So who you want to take with this pick? Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Bucky Irving, Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison, Josh Jacobs.
Oh, I love Josh Jacobs here. I think that's a slam dunk pick, especially with the recent injury to Marshawn Lloyd and the amount of work we've seen Josh Jacobs get in the past. Like, this could be a guy who we're looking at him as like, oh, cool, he's a top 6 running back again, and we're getting him here at the back end of round 2. Yeah, I love that.
So Josh Jacobs ahead of Chase Brown in your rankings?
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right. So Chase Brown was the next pick off the board. Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill. We don't have to force any position here. T. Higgins would be a nice value, but he just goes off the board. Bucky Irving, Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison, Breece Hall, Omarion Hampton, who is starting to climb up draft boards, I think is a fine value here in round 3, maybe even a little bit early. Jackson Smith-Njigba still available. Who jumps out to you, Alfredo?
I like the two of the guys that you had there at the bottom of the screen, which was Kyron Williams and Jackson Smith-Njigba.
All right.
I think I want to go. Dave, we just did it. Kyron, go Kyron.
All righty, Kyron Williams. So we're starting this one off.
We were running out of time.
Josh Jacobs. We were, yeah. I mean, the truth serum of the clock in a draft really gets us to get our takes out there. So CeeDee Lamb, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, and I so many people want to just load up on the wide receivers early.
I was going to ask.
Understand. But yeah, when you look at this pocket in the middle of round 2 to the middle of round 3, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, Omarion Hampton. I like walking out of drafts with 2 of these guys whenever possible. Of course, the downside when you're drafting these running backs is injuries happen. And we could look at these guys potentially getting hurt more frequently than wide receivers would. But if they stay healthy, we know Josh Jacobs is probably getting 250 to 300 touches. Kyron Williams probably getting 250 to 300 touches with the upside for 18 plus touchdowns in this offense. So both 2 nice, safe workhorses to build around.
Yeah. I like the build that we have so far. And I mean, you and I have done like best ball drafts and all kinds of these tournament drafts before. Have you found that you see that there's an ideal build for teams here in drafters? I know, like, obviously the format, it's 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs. Do you find that there is an ideal build for you? You just kind of, I know what you mentioned this before. Do you just let the board fall to you? Because sometimes, yes, the board will fall, but you do have an idea in mind.
I think the only kind of like staunch strategy that I'm really trying to stick behind this year is late round quarterback. But even then, I've been in the occasional draft where Lamar Jackson falls to me in round 4. Jaden Daniels is sitting there in round 5, and I'll bite the bullet and take it. But really, I think the only thing that I'm going into drafts with the mindset is that I do want to wait on quarterbacks. And there's so many times that I'll be in a draft and Patrick Mahomes falls a round below ADP and I pass on him and kind of regret it at the time. And then when I look at the team afterwards, I'm saying, you know what, it's okay, especially in best ball where you don't have to make the weekly lineup decisions. If you've got a quarterback room of, let's just say, like Trevor Lawrence, Michael Penix, and Bryce Young, like trying to decide who to start on a weekly basis might be a headache. But if you just have all 3 of those guys and it's automatically going to give you the best score of the 3, I think that you can take a late round quality or quantity over quality approach.
Can we start looking at some of the players here? Because players are coming off fast.
I think Tedero McMillan, based on the conversations we've had, he's probably a guy that we'd be eyeballing with this
like
next pick. So let's read through these. Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, Tedero McMillan, James Cook, George Pickens, DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, Alvin Kamara and Tedero McMillan both stick out to me. James Cook isn't a bad pick either.
My most
Uh,
drafted players in round 4 and 5 have been Tedero McMillan and James Cook, or I'm sorry, and Alvin Kamara. So let's go ahead and take
yeah,
Tedero McMillan right now. Gives us a real high upside wide receiver and already getting really good buzz out of Carolina, which shouldn't shock anybody. They spent the 8th overall pick on Tedero McMillan, and he's exactly what this offense needed. So like that pick. James Cook goes off the board, so we won't be able to get him. Alvin Kamara still floating out there. DeAndre Swift, Calvin Ridley, Rashi Rice, Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle. Still got a lot of really good value at this part in the draft.
yeah. What are you thinking for the next round here? Rasheed Rice was a name that stuck out to me. Coming up here in the 5th round, I don't know where you're at with potential looming suspension. We don't know how many games it'll be. Uh, it's hard to try to weigh out that value.
Yeah, it is really tough. I mean, he's definitely not coming back to us in round 6. So if we want to take him, now is the time to do it. If he does just get a 2-game slap on the wrist, this ends up being one of the best draft picks that you can make right now. Alvin Kamara goes off the board, so we're not going to be able to get him. So, I mean, DeAndre Swift is a guy that I like here. Calvin Ridley, Rashi Rice, guys I like here. I also like Jalen Waddle quite a bit. Probably a little too early for Travis Hunter, but I'd be happy with any of those guys. Jalen Waddle, Rashi Rice, Calvin Ridley, or DeAndre Swift. For whatever reason, DK Metcalf and Devonta Smith are 2 guys I've been okay passing on this year.
Okay, I'm between Waddle and Rice, so it all depends on what you're comfortable with here. I think there's also a likelihood that Jalen Waddle misses 2 or 3 games himself because of
Right.
injury.
He
So
always does.
at least with Rasheed Rice, we know what games he's going to miss.
So let's go
I
with
think I'd lean there.
Yeah, let's go Rasheed Rice, and he's a player who
Okay.
was going early round 2 prior to the
Yeah.
legal issues that popped up here. So we don't really know what plan the NFL is going to take here, but I think at this point now with that ADP, it has kind of settled in. You never want to be the guy trying to catch a falling knife. And when he was falling from round 2 to round 3 to round 4, I wasn't really drafting any of him, but I have consistently seen him kind of staying in that top to middle of round 5. So if his ADP is settling in there, I think it's worth taking the chance because we know the upside here. He could miss 2
Yeah.
games and then still for the rest of the season could just be a top 3 wide receiver going forward. So I will say though, with the way drafters is set up, this is accumulative scoring. So I think on a platform like Underdog or DraftKings where you're playing for the playoffs, Rashi Rice is much more valuable because you're assuming that he'll be back for weeks 15, 16, and 17. Here, if we're taking Rashi Rice, we definitely want to go a little bit more heavy on the wide receivers just
Right.
to get through those early weeks where we might not have him.
Well, that's where I'm leaning for our next pick. Why don't we take a look at the wide receivers that are available so we can sort of strategize this out?
Yeah, of course. So
Because I
let's
don't
go
think
and,
we're not going quarterback anytime soon.
nope.
I mean, we already kind of passed that top tier of tight ends. Like once Kittle went off the board, I figured we
Yep.
weren't doing anything. I mean, I like Waddle. I like Olave. You and I both really like Stephon Diggs, which I think is another fun one as well.
Stephon
Rome
Diggs, man,
Odunze.
he was like an 8th or 9th rounder just a couple of weeks ago, and now paying up for him in the 5th round pretty consistently. You can get lucky and get him in round 6 every now and then. If Stephon Diggs is there at 70, I think he's the easy pick, but wouldn't be surprised if he's off the board already. He's going well above ADP. But continuing to scroll down, Rome Odunze, Deebo Samuel, our boy Pretty Ricky, another guy who is really, now that he has been activated off the pup, he has been going way ahead of ADP as well.
Is that
Let me
really
take
what you call him? You call him Pretty Ricky?
I don't, but I wanted
Okay.
to on
I just
this
wanted to make
show.
sure.
And we can
Okay.
look at the running backs here. I mean, we got Josh Jacobs and Kyron Williams already, but if we wanted to sprinkle in an upside guy like a Caleb Johnson, we know that the
Yeah.
ceiling is there. Isaiah Pacheco is another guy I've been interested in. But yeah, I think this is the tight end dead zone when you're looking at Travis
Yuck.
Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, Evan Ingram, Mark Andrews. The quarterbacks going in this range also a dead zone in my opinion.
Can
Joe
you take a
Burrow,
look at
Patrick
that
Mahomes,
second
Kyler
to
Murray.
last team, by the way? Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, David Montgomery. And then their top 2 picks, or 2 of their top 3 picks were, oh my God, they have the entire Lions. The entire Lions offense. And then 2 Eagles.
Yeah. Should we take Jared Goff with our next pick just to seeth and hope and scream? But yeah, I mean that's one way to do it. That is interesting. That is a might be James Brimacombe's burner. I know James Brimacombe is all about like doesn't care about ADB, doesn't care about player takes. He's always trying to build these heavily stacked and unique rosters, and that's definitely
Mhm.
what Belderay is doing over there. But all right, we've only got one guy left in our queue. That emptied out quickly. Stephon Diggs is the last guy standing.
Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall went off the board super early. Jalen Waddle and Chris Olave back to back. Travis Hunter off the board as well. Looking at the other available wide receivers, Roma Dunze, probably some. Oh well, Roma
There it
Dunze.
is.
Stephon Diggs is the
Steph
easy
Diggs.
here.
Now, for the quarterbacks, I wanted to ask: is this going to be a 4-point per passing touchdown or 6-point per passing touchdown?
Oh, I should know that. Let me check
Uh-oh.
here real quickly.
Oh, Dave. Now we look foolish.
We do. Let's see.
Always know this, folks.
Passing touchdown is
4. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Let's hope I can get back to where we
Yeah.
were. All right, back to the draft. Here we go.
There we go.
Couple picks away.
Good, and we auto drafted. That's fun.
Emeka
Nothing
Egbuka
like
off
a
the board,
live show.
another big riser
Camp
in
hype?
drafts recently. Yeah,
Camp hype.
Emeka Egbuka going in round 6. If we're buying into the cap hype, though, Matthew Golden's still available. He's another player that I wouldn't mind. We've already got one receiver off the board here. Travis Kelce, would be interested in potentially taking him here, but receivers, we're looking at these guys available. Josh Downs, Matthew Golden, Jordan Addison, Khalil Shakir, Debo Samuel, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Brian Robinson, Travis Etienne. Who would you like to go
Joe
with
Mixon.
here?
I'm just kidding. Let's check wide receiver again.
All right. Debo Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Jordan Addison, Josh Downs, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed.
I really love Josh Downs, man.
All right. Let's
I really
do it.
love
Now,
Josh Downs. There's been good press coming out. You and I were just talking about. It's like, am I really about to buy into Anthony Richardson again?
Yeah.
And there's just good press coming out about the Colts offense in general, and like whether Anthony Richardson ends up being the guy. We know that Josh Downs is going to have a big role in this offense. Even if it's Daniel Jones, there's going to be targets to the slot. They're trying to find all these different creative ways to use Tyler Warren, but like Josh Downs kind of continues to be the steady drumbeat guy of like, he's the wide receiver 1, even though he's not your traditional wide receiver 1 prototype, if that makes sense.
Right. And I know one of the few dissensions that you and I have this year is Tyler Warren. I still think Tyler Warren is just going to be the guy here. Oh, all right, cool. All right.
I'm there.
I expect Tyler Warren to lead the team in targets. Just since rookie OTAs, since rookie minicamp, like it has just been nonstop. Tyler Warren buzz. We're already hearing him lining up as a goal line running back, which is kind of hilarious considering they have Jonathan Taylor, one of the best goal line running backs in the NFL, but trying to do whatever they can to find creative ways to get him the ball. Right. So I think here, we are very set on wide receiver. We've got CeeDee Lamb, Tedoroa McMillan, Rashee Rice, Stephon Diggs, and Josh Downs. We've got Josh Jacobs and Kyron Williams sitting at running back. And I think this is also a nice pocket in this area, rounds 8, 9, and 10. I really like some of the running back value that we get here. We see at this point, there is a fall off with the wide receivers. Chris 100%. Godwin, we don't know when he's going to be ready. And having drafted Stephon Diggs coming off the ACL, having drafted Tedoroa McMillan, a rookie, having drafted Rashee Rice, who could be suspended, I don't want to take Chris Godwin because we could be taking zeros at our wide receiver spot to start the year at that point. So, Cooper Kupp.
And our wide receiver room has crazy volume. I know, like we're just sitting here, just talking about how great our roster is, but that's like just crazy target volume potential right there.
Exactly. So, and you see like all of the wide receivers now that are still available and the guys that are going to be going off the board here all have pretty significant question marks around them. Right. So I think, getting a wide receiver heavy approach early is never a bad call. And then when you look at the running backs, here we do have this mix where you kind of have some potential dead zone guys, but you also have some really high upside guys. I love drafting the Jordan Masons and the J.K. Dobbins and the Zach Charbonnets and the Tyrone Tracy's and Tajay.
Let's get some guys in our queue.
Yeah. So I don't know. We've talked about this a little bit on the show. J.K.
He took Jared Goff. Sorry. He took Jared Goff. He did it.
Committed to the bit. Love to see it. And I mean, that's wildly early for Jared Goff, but he has he knows what he's doing over here. J.K. Dobbins has been my most drafted running back so far. I just think the upside of him being the pass catching running back in Sean Payton's offense makes him a pretty nice pick. But Zach Charbonnet, we saw what the upside was last year if Kenneth Walker has to miss any time. Cam Scatabo and Tyrone Tracy, it's kind of funny. These guys keep flip-flopping in ADP like every single week. It's like, there's a little bit of buzz around Scatabo and then a little bit of buzz around Tracy, but they're always side by side in drafts. And then Tajay Spears, Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, I think walking away with 2 of these running backs with their next 2 picks would be a solid move. Although
Yep.
Travis Kelce fallen far. I mean, this is once Travis Kelce gets a little bit below ADP, it's tough for me to pass on the potential upside of getting a top 3 tight end this late.
Eh, I don't know that I like. I'm just not interested.
That's fair.
I'm just not interested. It's like I don't know. I don't have a good example for it. I was going to do a whole thing, but we're running out of time here. Okay, so let's look at these running backs here. Out of
You
the
know who to
guys
throw in the queue.
available,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think Joe Mixon and Jalen Warren were on our will not draft, even if there's a fire episode yesterday, so not going
yeah.
there. But J.K. Dobbins, Zach Charbonnet, Cam Scadaboo, Tyrone Tracy. Which one of these guys would you like to take?
I'm torn between Tracy and Dobbins. I kind of like that Tracy's already our starter. He gives you the receiving upside as well. But you have said that Dobbins is your most drafted running back if you want to do
I
it.
can't pass on him,
I
especially
saw,
below ADP.
you were hovering the mouse over the button as I was talking about a
Trying to
different
push
player. You
in
know
that
what?
direction.
You know what? The comps are correct. You are like my wife. Like I'm telling you something, and you're like, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna do the
Yeah,
exact opposite.
that's
of
nice.
that.
That's nice. That's nice. Well, also, really, what it comes down to is I think that Tyrone Tracy is more likely to fall back to us at 99 than J.K. Dobbins
Sure,
would have been. So
sure.
here we are, one pick away from getting
A lot
both the
of
guys
two
that we
quarterback
wanted.
teams here.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott, he would have been on our radar with this pick, having gone with CeeDee
With
Lamb
CD.
first overall. But this, just the way that I had hoped that it would play out, we were able to get both J.K. Dobbins and Tyrone Tracy. Now let's
There it
take a look here. I zoomed in a little bit, trying to make it as easy for the viewers to see as possible, but now we aren't able to see too much of the board. So let me zoom out a little bit. I don't know what your drafts have looked like so far, Alfredo, but this is so typical for drafts that I've done this year, where my first like 9 to 10 picks are just running backs and wide receivers.
Yep.
And I'll address the tight end and quarterback position later. So
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Tedero McMillan, Rashi Rice, Stephon Diggs, Josh Downs, J.K. Dobbins, and Tyrone Tracy.
Love it.
I feel very good about all those players.
Yeah. I love it. And actually, I'm not gonna lie. I as much as I like our team, a pick just came off the board that I'm glad we didn't take him, but I think it's worth talking about the value of Mark Andrews, who just went in round 9 here, where Isaiah Likely's a guy who's
fractured foot
at the moment, and we don't know. Like we always hear, should be ready for week 1.
They said a fractured foot is the diagnosis. Yesterday was
that's not an easy thing to come back from, man. Like I've had it. It takes you a long time to come back, and even when you're quote back, you're not at 100%. I'm not trying to compare myself to an NFL athlete in any way, but like these are injuries that do linger. Those foot injuries, man, like they're tough, especially for the bigger guys.
Got a no cap Mac. I agree on Josh Downs. Pittman is always hurt too, so I think it'll be the Warren and Downs show for the Indy passing game. Alfredo, I just shared something on Twitter, and this kind of blew my mind. I was just looking at the most combined targets over the last 2 years. Would you believe me if I told you Michael Pittman was second in targets over the last 2 seasons combined? Or I'm sorry, 10th in targets over the last 2 seasons combined. I mean, this list, it's all just alphas. CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Amon St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Drake London.
And Michael
Pittman sneaking in.
You said alphas. You said what you said. The data doesn't lie, Dave.
A couple picks out. We can start looking at quarterbacks at this point. I don't want to say prioritize stacking, but I do like when we could get somebody stacked. Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, CJ Stroud. None of these stack with the
Jordan
players.
Love, no? We got Jordan Love with Josh Jacobs, and then there's Tucker Kraft available at tight end.
Yeah, and Tucker Kraft has been one of my most drafted guys so far. We could also flip over to the running backs real quickly, see if anybody here piques our interest. Ray Davis and Isaac Rendo are 2 guys that I like. No projectable volume, but huge upside. Are you thinking Jordan Love is the move here?
I think. Do you think we can wait, or do you want to maybe go tight end right now?
Wait. Yeah, ADP is 126. We could probably wait there. If we look at tight end, David Njoku is the best available, or we can go with Tyler Warren and then prioritize Richardson a little bit later.
Oh, that seems gross, but yeah, go for it, Dave. You want to have fun? Let's do it.
Why not? Yeah, we got Belderay over here doing the smart move of investing heavily in good offenses like the Eagles and the Lions, and we're over here.
Let's invest in bad ones.
There is value to be found, though. Yeah, not crazy about any of these quarterbacks. The nice thing with Caleb Williams is you could always stack him a little bit later with some other guys if you wanted to go
Mhm.
that route. JJ McCarthy, you can't stack him with anybody later. All of his players go off the board before he does.
I also don't think we need to try to stack a quarterback right now. Like Bryce
Right,
Young is available later for
right.
Tedero and McMillan. Like there's plenty there. I love one of these high contingency upside running backs. So any one of
I
these
like
you
Ray
like,
Davis more than
yeah,
Garendo. Yeah.
yep.
One game last year that James Cook missed, and in that game, Ray Davis 23 touches and
You,
152 yards.
you know
Um,
my love language, man. It's Ray Davis.
yeah, I mean, I think that he is just good enough to be a starting NFL running back, and I think that's why the
Yep.
Bills are playing hardball. James Cook is like, "Pay me," and they're like, "Why? Like,
No.
we can replace you with Ray
Well, and it's
Davis."
not
You
just
got
pay me. He wants
15
Saquon
mil.
Barkley contract. Like that's what he wants. And they're like, no. And yeah, these things rarely ever work out in favor of the player because they say, well, fine, I'm not going to show up. And then eventually they do show up because if not, they're going to get fined. And then everything just ends up working out or they kick the can down the road to a later time. And it always happens like this, man.
Yeah, and especially the running backs. I mean, the running backs very rarely have any leverage in these situations. If Josh Allen says, "I'm not showing up to camp without a new contract,"
Well,
they're
then,
probably just handing him a blank check. But
yeah.
James Cook, yeah, especially a little bit more replaceable. And Jeff Bell talks about this. Big Bills fan, says that like the Bills, you've seen like they have hit on so many running backs over the last few decades. Like they are very good at drafting running backs, but then they never give these guys second contracts. Like they just draft them, use them on their rookie deals, and then replace them in the draft again. And I think that's their plan right now. And they've got the incumbent Ray Davis can be that guy when James Cook leaves.
Well, and the good news is that Ray Davis won't need another contract because he'll be 43 when this first contract is up, and then that's it. And you just draft another guy. It's the
Right.
same thing.
So I think now we could start looking at some of these quarterbacks. I will throw Isaac Garendo in the queue just
Yeah.
in case. If he falls, I value is just too
We
good to
we
pass
may
on.
have waited too long on quarterbacks. People are starting to take more and more and more. You know who's still there is I don't want to say because I don't want to jinx it, but the quarterback we mentioned earlier is still there.
Yeah, he is. So we'll throw him in
There's
the queue as well.
still some good players, man. I would throw Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence into the queue there.
Let me take a look real quickly, just so I didn't overlook. Dak Prescott already gone. Bryce Young is a guy that we can target later. Mahomes is already gone. Drake May already drafted. Yeah, Drake May went a little bit
Yeah,
earlier.
Drake May's
So
gone.
one thing I will say is, you when you play the quarterback waiting game, you do sometimes have to reach for quarterbacks in this
Right.
range because if you miss the quarterbacks here, it's all fun and games until you're looking at Tyler Shugg and Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback room, and then
Oh,
you don't
baby.
feel quite as good. I mean, there's still some value to be had, but you wait a little bit too long and it gets scary real quickly. So Jordan Love will throw him in the queue. Trevor Lawrence will throw him in. Do you have a stance between Penix or Stroud that you like one more than the other?
Man, I want to like CJ Stroud this year because I love that they drafted some wide receivers and I'm a big Nico Collins fan, but that offensive line worries me so much.
Well,
And then
Penix goes off
not
the board, luckily, so we don't have
yeah,
to
yeah,
make
not
that
having a
decision.
running game worries me as well. Like I think if I
And
would do
neither of
this,
them do. Stroud and Penix are both great athletes. They just don't rush. It's like it's not in their
yeah.
wheelhouse to want to run the ball.
Well, but on top of that, though, the Texans just literally don't have running backs. Like with Joe
Right.
Mixon being hurt, and yes, they have Nick Chubb, but it's like you go from one old injured running back to another old injured running back. Like I'm just not excited about that. I'd rather go for the upside of Tua Tagovailoa or Geno Smith in a Chip Kelly offense, like being really good, than take the floor, the high floor of a CJ Stroud right now.
What do you think about Cam Ward? Because Cam Ward's a player that I've been drafting a lot, especially with us only having one tight end right now. One of my
Yeah,
favorite things to do when I wait on quarterback is Cam Ward in round 12 and then Chigakonkwo in round 14.
I like it because I'm a Chicago guy this year, but I had like a real fear happen earlier today where Calvin Ridley comes off the field of
Yep.
practice with a right leg injury, and then they're like, "Oh, it's just cramps," and I'm like, "Oh, that would change the landscape of Cam Ward, one player."
It could, but
So
I think there Jordan Love goes off the board, so we're gonna
yeah,
miss out on him.
we got to
But
stop talking about these guys we want.
yeah, it's unfortunately the game that we play. But Cam Ward has some rushing moxie that I think doesn't get talked about a lot. Like, what if
Moxie,
behind you?
what are you, 78 years old, Dave? What are you?
What Would it surprise you though if Cam Ward rushes for like 600-700 yards this year? Because I don't think that's out of the question.
That would surprise me a little bit. I think it's probably closer to like the Caleb Williams 400, 500 maybe.
Even that is enough to really pad the floor and give you a
Yeah,
nice ceiling though. I think Cam Ward would be my next pick here, but let's throw Tua and Geno in as well.
do we have
And
another
Stroud,
tight
why
end
not?
that we like? Maybe. Where are we at
Uh,
there?
I do like Jake Ferguson here.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid, that knee injury, man, that is
Ooh,
worrying
okay,
me a
okay. I got a
little bit.
plan here. I got a
Yeah,
plan here. We got Trevor Lawrence.
my
What
guess
if
is
we
that
wait
we
and stack to
see.
Brenton Strange?
I like that one too. Yeah, yeah, and that's why I mean, Tua Tagovailoa goes off the board, but I think that if we go Cam Ward
Let's
here
grab
as
another
well,
quarterback.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think if we get Cam Ward here, that opens us up for a late round Brenton Strange or Chigakonkwo to go along with Tyler Warren, and I'd feel
I love
pretty
it.
good about that QB room. Also, something else that's a little bit different. This is, and I figured Jake Ferguson was going to go here because if I believe this is the guy who drafted. Oh no, the
Nope.
Pat Prescott drafter passed on him. Kind of weird to
Got a
see.
third quarterback.
Which honestly, I do like when you wait on quarterback this long. We don't have really a difference maker. So I'm okay going with 3 quarterbacks. Another difference
Yeah,
in drafters, I probably should have told you this beforehand, Alfredo. This is a 20 round draft instead of an 18 round
18.
draft. So I think when you're drafting 20 rounds deep, it does make 3 quarterback and 3 tight end builds a little bit more appealing just because you have the extra spots.
Okay, this makes sense. I'm still think our third quarterback. Do we want to lean towards Anthony Richardson there for the upside?
I think so, yeah. And it'll be interesting because, his ADP right now is 191. So we'll hope to get him
I don't think
here
he
at
may. I don't think he
16.
makes it
But I
there.
think we probably just pulled the trigger here at 171 instead. So let's look at some tight ends here. All of these guys. So Brenton Strange, he'd have to fall a little bit below ADP. Oop,
Well, one spot
uh,
past almost exactly ADP. We're at 166. He's 165.9.
right. So that's, I mean, in an ideal world, what we can do with this 166 pick is walk away with Brenton
Each of
Strange.
those guys are set for our ADP.
Right. So, well, what I'm hoping is that we can get one of these tight ends and then spend this pick 177 on Anthony Richardson, because then at that point we'd have Tyler Warren and either Brenton Strange or Chigakonkwo, and then we'd have Cam Ward, Trevor Lawrence, and Anthony Richardson as our quarterback room. I'd feel very good with those quarterbacks and tight ends, and then that leaves us 5 remaining spots that we can spend on more wide receivers, injury away running backs, whatever we want there. But this is pretty standard for how I've been building a lot of teams this year, where I just running back and wide receiver heavy. When I look at these middle rounds, like 10 to 15, really hammering the quarterbacks and tight ends, and then trying to save as many, for the Taj Brookses and the Jordan Jameses and the Brashad Smiths, so they can end up being those league tilting rookies.
Yeah, I'm surprised Brashad Smith didn't go like 4 rounds ago, man. Like he people love him right now.
Yeah, we
I was like, oh, sorry, go.
he is somebody that is going well above ADP. And once training camp hits, you can't really play the ADP game. Taj Brooks is another one. With Zach Moss getting waived today, whatever his ADP is, I'm expecting to see him go probably 2-3 rounds ahead of ADP, because it takes a few weeks for that ADP to adjust. So a lot of the value that you're hoping to get ends up just getting squeezed out. Quinshon Judkins in round 14, man. I don't know how you feel about Quinshon Judkins, but this is a guy that was going round 4 or 5 prior to the legal issues. And then we get the word that like they're cautiously optimistic that he'll play for the Browns someday, that they've pulled the contract off the
Someday.
table. Dude, it
It's
is so hard
crazy.
to draft Quinshon Judkins right now.
Someday is nasty work. Like that's nuts that we're
Hmm.
saying that. But I mean, hey, like I try not to pretend like I know stuff that I don't. Like I'm not a lawyer. We're not giving legal advice. Like we don't
Right.
know what direction the league is going to go. So at this point, like, yeah, it's later in drafts. You can take risks on players. Doesn't mean that you necessarily support that player or their actions. But this looks like this is where a lot of the picks are being made. That these are the swing backs, and I don't mean like backs that you pass it to out of the backfield in an actual swing pass. I mean, like these are the running backs that could swing your draft entirely. The Najee Harris, Rashad White, Miles Sanders,
Hmm.
Tyler Algier. There is so much contingent upside here. Dave,
Brenton Strange
can
or
we
Chigakonkwo, who do you prefer?
um let's go Brenton Strange.
I like that. That gives us a little bit of correlation with that Trevor Lawrence pick we made earlier. And then if we can
Yeah.
get Richardson on this wraparound here, feel pretty good about that. We can look at some of the other positions if you want. Braylon Allen has been getting some really good buzz. Will Shipley is starting to climb a little bit as we get more and more bad news about AJ Dillon. Brashard Smith still on the board. Marshawn Lloyd starting to fall quite a bit now in
Yeah, he
drafts.
he just had
Taj
a groin
Brooks.
injury.
Yep, yep. Which God, I hope he can get healthy because such a good player. I think he
Yeah,
had 6 touches last year, if I believe, like an appendectomy, an ankle injury, just one thing
it's
after
just
the
crazy.
other. Well, we are one pick away from getting Anthony Richardson, and I'd feel great about that because then we've got our quarterbacks closed out, we've got our tight ends closed out. We could always sprinkle in a third tight end if we
I
want,
was gonna
but
ask. Yeah, I wouldn't. I was gonna ask like, how often do you see the three tight ends? I know with this being an extra 2 rounds and the builds being a little different. I mean, let's go Anthony Richardson here because I think that's
yeah,
a bigger help for us if it does hit. But the Chico
but
Conquo
3 tight
pick
ends.
later, I think, is interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, even Elijah Arroyo becomes fun too.
uh-huh. Yeah, I like him. I mean, I have no problem taking a late round tight end. I mean, even I'll sometimes save that 20th pick for a Rondé Gadsden or Elijah Arroyo, some of those guys that are just lotto tickets at this point. Because I
Mhm.
think Tyler Warren, um, I probably feel better about him than I should. It is we don't know for sure what he's going to do, but I think the ceiling for him is so high that like you could potentially be getting one of those game-changing elite guys. Like we could be looking at Tyler Warren next year in the same tier as Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. And I think at worst there's going to be enough usage and volume that at worst he's probably giving you a top 12 ceiling or a top 12 season. So I like Tyler Warren quite a bit, and then Strange is just a fun guy to mix in there. Assuming we already made the bet on Trevor Lawrence. Assuming this whole Jacksonville Jaguars offense is a little bit better, that should be a good pick as well. So, nothing too crazy in this draft, but this is how I like to build my teams, and I'm happy with the way this one is coming along.
Yeah, man, Anthony Richardson with not only Tyler Warren but with Josh Downs as well. So if Anthony Richardson is successful for the Colts, we end up looking really good here with that Colts offense being able to move the ball. A lot of the stuff you're saying about Tyler Warren, like yeah, I think there is going to be volume there, but I think what's even bigger is that he's going to have opportunities after the catch because like
Yep,
that's what Shane Steichen does. He did it so well with Dallas Goddard,
yep.
just getting him into space and getting him on screens. But I think Tyler Warren can be so much better than Dallas Goddard ever has been with catching passes in space. There goes Chico Conquo. Um, but yeah, I think like for tight end, if we really want to, like let's wait till one of the later rounds. We can grab an
Yeah,
Elijah Arroyo or any of these other guys. Like Arroyo actually has a shot to be like second in targets on that team.
yep.
If because like we don't
Noah
expect
Fant's
Cooper Cup to
gone,
play
and
a full season.
yep. So start looking at some of these running backs too. I think this is another good spot. We can look at the receivers. Jack Besh. I know you're a big Jack
Yep,
Besh guy. We can throw him in the queue. But man, it gets so gross when you start looking at these late round wide receivers. Typically, I'm looking at the rookies that we
keep
don't
scrolling,
really
keep
know
scrolling.
the mystery boxes. But yeah, man, like Keenan Allen is a guy I've drafted a lot of. I just talked about the most targets over the last 2 years. Keenan Allen inside the top 10. I don't think that he's ready to retire. I think he's just trying to sit out as much training camp as he can and join a team in the last minute. So I like Keenan Allen there. Jalen Royals getting a ton of steam right now as well.
I was
Um,
going to ask, how do you feel about that? Because he's a player that I think if Rasheed Rice is out, Jalen Royals fills in nicely, but then you're also just looking at a guy that's probably only playing for those games. So you're basically, I don't want to say wasting a pick, but you're creating at least one player out of these two picks.
And you're also asking him to get up to speed immediately. Like it's not 2 games late in the year where he's had his reps. Like I don't know if he's going to be ready to just like, hey, you're going to be the focal point of the offense for the first 2 weeks. And we do see Andy Reid typically slow rolls the development of these rookies. So not a player I've been drafting a ton of, but I do see the upside there. I think this is still a good spot for running backs.
Okay.
Will Shipley, Rashad Smith is another one that jumps out to me. Taj Brooks now with the Zach Moss cut. Keaton Mitchell now removed from the ACL has a really nice ceiling. Kyle Monungai could easily be the number 2 guy in Chicago. Blake Corum, I think, is still the number 2 there. Corey Krusky Merritt getting a lot of buzz out of Washington. I think this is really a sweet spot to just hammer running backs for the next few rounds.
Well, then let's do this. If we have, well, Will Shipley
Oh,
goes right
Shipley,
there.
that sucks.
Since we have Rasheed Rice and we're talking about guys that can get easy targets for Kansas City, why don't we go with Brashard Smith?
Cool. I like that. Yeah, he's still available. Kind of
Because
surprised to see him
that's,
falling as
he's
far as
up
he
there at
did.
the top.
Yep. Cool. And he's a guy that you're able to get in round 20 a few weeks ago, and now
Yeah.
you are paying up for him in round 16. But it takes a deep downfield target training camp clip and people get super excited about it, or report that he's getting goal line usage with the first team, people are getting excited about it. So, the ceiling here is that he's kind of a Jerick McKinnon 2.0, and I think that's what you're drafting him for.
Right.
Let's see. We've got one,
I
two,
mean, I
three,
know you.
6.
If you want to
You know
go
what?
with Taj Brooks here, you can.
I'm surprised he's still on the board, to be honest. What I
He
said
should have gone
yesterday.
round 3.
I mean, what I said is, I do think, when you look at where a lot of other injury away guys are going, I think Will Shipley is just ridiculously mispriced. Like when I see this, where we took Ray Davis and Isaac Guerrero over here, this is where I think round 11, 12, 13, I think that's where Shipley and Brooks should be going. But it's so weird how ADP just entrenches takes, and ADP gets shaped out over the entire summer, and people have just decided that there's this massive chasm between these injury away backs and these injury away backs. But it is just so easy to take Taj Brooks and some of these injury away guys that are on really good offenses. I mean, Taj Brooks, all it takes, Chase Brown goes down with any injury, and Taj Brooks is this year's Chase Brown. Like that's the upside. You're not drafting him hoping that he can siphon away 50% of the touches. You're drafting him saying that if Chase Brown misses time, I don't expect much from Samaje Perine. They're going to have to lean on Taj Brooks if Chase Brown misses any time.
Yeah, and I also do think like if Chase Brown misses time, they're looking at bringing in a third back, figuring out who that is. What I actually liked about Taj Brooks's game is that I think he's a better pass blocker than most people give him credit for, and
One of
he's
the best
actually
in this
pretty.
class.
Yeah, and he's actually pretty smooth catching the ball out of the backfield, even though like he wasn't a high reception guy coming out of Texas Tech. What I want to see him do is just get a little bit more consistent with his running style, and so like that's something where it's just like maybe he's not my preference as a player, but I don't think that you can deny that there's value to be had with a guy when opportunity presents itself. And I've said this in the past, like I don't want to invest in middle management running backs that get CEO roles like Zach Moss.
Right.
But I don't want to invest highly in them early in drafts. When we're sitting here in round 17 of this draft, like, yeah, I'm all about taking that kind of player at this point.
So there's a lot. Let me just pull it up real quickly. I'm not sure if you have much interest in these guys, but the other nice thing when you take Cam Ward is that there's so many late stacking opportunities. Alec Aomanor, Tyler Lockett, Xavier Strepo, Tyler Boyd, Van Jefferson. Do any of these guys pique your interest at all? Weirdly enough, we did scroll down. I don't even see him out here. Oh, maybe somebody drafted him. It looks like Shamir DK is the one who always falls, which is weird to me because he got the draft
You've been
capital
hanging out
over
with Jeff too
Alec
long.
Aomanor. I mean, he got drafted rounds ahead of Alec Aomanor, and I have some questions about Aomanor, but Jameer DK, I mean, just off the charts athleticism on a wide open wide receiver room. I'm kind of surprised. Aomanor goes off the board here. Tyler Lockett, they're talking about, maybe not even making the team. Xavier Strepo, maybe not making the team. So, all right, Aomanor was the one I would have been interested in, but he's gone now.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's over.
Anthony Richardson, I think we've already got 2 stacking opportunities there. Cam Ward, we're just gonna take him naked. Unfortunately, we got
whoa.
that's what we call it. No stack.
Easy.
What's
That's what?
Diami Brown already went off the board, and yeah, Parker Washington, no interest in Parker Washington. So, Cam Ward, let's hope he rushes a bunch because that's how he's going to pay off on this team. None of the wide receivers here really piquing my interest too much. We can look at a tight end 3, Theo Johnson, Jatavian Sanders. If I'm not getting one of those guys, I'll just wait until this later area. Do you want to go with Theo or Jatavian Sanders now, or do you think we just keep kind of hitting the running backs here?
I'm fine with continuing to hit the running backs here. Like I think Kyle Monangai becomes a fun pick. You're our Bears guy. I know like you're not as high on Roshan Johnson. I like Monangai.
Yeah.
But I think like, when you do have a new regime for, coaching staff, they like these guys that come in and do all the dirty work. So Monangai becomes an interesting player.
I like that one a lot too. And it's weird. It seems Ryan Poles has been the one that is still talking about Roshan Johnson. Ryan Poles has like a deep emotional attachment to the players that we drafted. We saw him on Hard Knocks have to cry when he was releasing a player. Like that's just he feels for the guys that he invests in. So we've gotten a lot of Ryan Poles, the general manager, saying, we want Roshan Johnson to get out there. We want to see what he can do. But then you hear Eric Bieniemy and you hear Ben Johnson, and they're talking about Kyle Monangai a lot more than they're talking about Roshan Johnson. So Marshawn Lloyd, we did go with Josh Jacobs earlier. I mean, a huge faller in this draft right now, over
Yeah,
20
at this
spots
point,
below his
I would take
ADP.
him.
I think it makes sense to handcuff with Josh Jacobs. But let's
Yep.
take a look at our player distributions really quickly here, just so we can get a nice balance on this one at the end. We got our three quarterbacks. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 running backs. So I think we're good there. We got our two tight ends, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. We've got one pick left. And I know we've got a very strong wide receiver room here, but I think just to balance the scales
Yeah.
a little bit, we got to go with another receiver here. So Roman Wilson, I like the prospect a lot, but a 0 his rookie season. Let's just kind of scroll lightly through here. Let me know some guys that jump out to you that you'd want to spend
I'm
this last pick on.
intrigued. I'm intrigued by Devon Vele.
All right.
Intrigued, not like excited. Intrigued. So,
I mean, you can't be
fun
excited
word
about
to
any
use.
20th round wide receiver. So, I mean, we're all
No,
just kind of taking our medicine here. Jordan
I know
Whittington, a
you
guy
like
we
Jordan
talked about,
Whittington.
has like some weird contingent upside if Puka Nacua has to miss any time. MVS, man, I don't know how you feel about him, but like the X receiver in Clint Kubiak's offense, we saw what he did in that role last year. And if Cooper Cup has to miss, he could be the number 2 guy. It's gross.
It could
Parker
work.
Washington, not a guy I'm thrilled about either, but it does kind
No,
of work with the Trevor Lawrence pick that we made earlier. Isaac Tisla, I gotta wonder if this guy right here, Team
it's
11,
gonna
is going
take
to
him
take
right
Isaac
now.
Tisla. Yeah. Jermaine Burton, I can't do it. A couple
No,
highlights have come out of
no,
Cincinnati, but I just can't do it.
no,
Deontay
no.
Johnson has been getting some buzz out of Cleveland. What do you think about going back to that well?
No, no. What do you think about Brandon Cooks? Like, I know it's not an exciting. Oh, you know what? Nick Westbrook Akine.
There you go.
What do you think there? Because I think that's a fun player, because we do end up having Tyreek Hill misses games with injury, Jalen Waddle misses games with injury, Devon Achane misses games with injury. There's no more Jonnu Smith. He is the next wide receiver up, like, at all times, and this is a team that's going to pass the ball a lot.
See, I want to see. I think he's already off the board. Malik Washington is the guy that I have penciled in as
Yeah,
being ahead of Nick Westbrook Akine. But we know, I mean, they don't really have any like big receivers. It's a bunch of
that's the
little
thing.
guys on that offense. He's the one guy that could potentially siphon away some of those Johnny Smith red zone opportunities where they're just throwing him up in the end zone and letting him make a play on it. And this, when you're looking for a guy in round 20, I don't care if he has 300 yards. If he falls into the end zone 7 or 8 times, that's going to pay off for a 20th round pick. And I think that he
Yeah.
does have the touchdown upside there. Um,
Jalen Coker, does that
yeah,
interest you? With us having Tedero and McMillan, if, like, God forbid McMillan misses time, Jalen Coker was starting to come alive last year with some volume.
he was. I don't know what to make of this. We're getting strong reports of McMillan, of course, and Xavier Legette is getting strong reports as well. I don't know who the wide receiver 3 is going to be because it's been a very quiet offseason for Coker. Adam Thielen is still there on a relatively big contract, and Hunter Renfrow, man, like there has been a lot of buzz about Hunter Renfrow, and I think that he profiles for that slot role where you can put Legette out as the flanker, you can put McMillan as the X, and let Hunter Renfrow live in the slot. That kind of makes sense to me.
You know what's better than one Adam Thielen? It's two Adam
Right.
Thielens.
Yeah, one
Like,
that's a few years younger and a little bit less hair.
I think there's just so, like, there's such a wide range of outcomes here. Like, I actually think it's very possible that Thielen and Renfro don't make the roster and
Right.
Coker takes over that
Right.
spot. Like, it's there. I'm
So
fine with any of these guys here. I think Parker Washington's the one that excites me the least.
probably,
Um,
yeah. I mean,
I
if
mean,
we're
and
looking for contingent upside here, that's what Whittington has. We got 10
yeah,
seconds left here, Alfredo. Who do you
go
want?
for it. Whittington, go for it. Go crazy.
All right. So we'll take a look at this one here. We did invest. This is what every time they make a pick, this is just going to keep popping up. We invested early and often in wide receivers, so we're not going to have a whole lot of depth there. But I do like the way this team shook out. We got CeeDee Lamb, Josh
Yep.
Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Tedero McMillan, Rashi Rice, Stephon Diggs, Josh Downs, J.K. Dobbins, Tyrone Tracy, Tyler Warren, Ray Davis, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, Brenton Strange, Anthony Richardson, Brashad Smith, Taj Brooks, Kyle Monangai, Marshawn Lloyd, and Jordan Whittington. I love this right here, Alfredo. This 16 to 19, Brashad Smith, Taj Brooks, Kyle Monangai, Marshawn Lloyd. I think that's really what you want to save those spots for late in your draft, is to try to get these guys that just have huge league tilting upside here. And we don't need them to perform immediately either. We've got Josh Jacobs and Kyron Williams that we expect to be our early scorers. And if they start to trail off, if they start to wear down as the workload grows, things of that nature, we've got J.K. Dobbins, Tyrone Tracy, Brashad Smith, Taj Brooks, Kyle Monangai, Marshawn Lloyd, all guys that can be late season scorers. So I'm happy with the way this one turned out. Looking at this board, is there anything that you would have changed? Looking back, like,
Oh
I
my
wish we had
gosh.
taken this player over this player.
Um, Man, I can barely see the board, but I'm working on it right now. Uh, I do think I'm okay with the way we went on tight end going Tyler Warren late. Like there's not much that I really regret here. I think I wish we would have gone quarterback maybe one round earlier so we could really have our pick of the bunch here and we could have ended up with Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence, right? Instead of Cam Ward and we really didn't get the payoff there with Cam Ward that we wanted.
And this was kind of a brutal little stretch right here. We took Ray Davis, and then after Ray Davis, we were hoping that one of these quarterbacks was going to make it back to us. Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert, JJ McCarthy, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, all going off the board. I do like having one of those guys as my QB1, and then have Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward as the QB2 and QB3. I think in hindsight, looking had we swapped out Ray Davis for any of these guys, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, I think I'd have liked it a little bit better as well. But we're
Yeah.
really nitpicking here. And then I think when you do miss out on those guys, getting Anthony Richardson, I mean, the reality is he might not start a whole season. He might not start at all, but when he's on the field, you could potentially get those 35, 40-point spike weeks from him, and you're not getting that sort of upside from any other quarterbacks. I mean, Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, those guys are never coming close to the weekly ceiling that you're getting from Anthony Richardson. So overall, I'm happy with this one. Similar start to a lot of my drafts. I do agree with you on that round 11 quarterback that would have made a little bit of a difference, but I think even missing out on that big quarterback run, I think we did the right thing by adding Richardson late and kind of building in that upside to our quarterback room.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the thing for people on drafters is I mean, this was my first draft on drafters and it was a fun one, but it's also been to realize like quarterbacks might go a little earlier than you're used to, and a third quarterback is going to be drafted by teams. Like there's a team right there in the dead center of the draft board that went three quarterbacks back to back to back in those middle rounds, going from round 11 to 13. So it's stuff like that can throw off your entire draft. So you don't always have to try to wait and get the value. If you have a guy that you want, like just go and get that guy, especially in something like this where you need to have a specific type of build.
And looking at the teams, I think that might be my favorite team 7 here, where they were able to not only get quarterbacks that I really like in Justin Herbert and Jordan Love, but they got them stacked as well. He's got the Justin Herbert Lad McConkey stack. I think that one turned out pretty nicely. So and then I believe I could be wrong. I thought he got Jaden Higgins. I might be imagining that. No, somebody else got Jaden Higgins. So
You got
either way,
Jalen Noel from
that's
the
right. All right.
Texans.
Okay,
But
man.
he did take Chris Godwin early, so now you hate his team.
He got him at a little bit of a discount. Not a guy that I'm aggressively drafted, but Jalen Noel, it's so tough to project him for anything because you look at Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, and Christian Kirk, probably the top 3 guys. And Noel does seem like a guy that they're kind of hoping will take over Christian Kirk's role over the next couple of
He
years.
literally
But
is Christian Kirk, Dave.
exactly right. That's what I'm saying. He does everything Christian Kirk can do. So I don't know if he's going to be able to beat out Christian Kirk in camp. I mean, all they traded a 7th round pick for Christian Kirk. It's not like there's a huge investment there.
Right.
No, could end up being the better player, but a guy that I haven't drafted much of yet that I might try working in a little bit more. But Alfredo, before we sign off, do we need to plug anything here? We got a show coming out. When the show that we recorded earlier today, that one comes out tomorrow, I believe, or is that coming out? I should probably know these things.
It comes out tomorrow, and then next week we'll have shows coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. Yeah, we just recorded our early round players to target in rounds 1 through 4. Next week we're gonna have the mid rounds, rounds 5 through 8. Yeah, 5 through 8, and then the late round sleepers, rounds 9 and later. That way we're getting you guys prepped for your drafts. And then we got a bunch of like cool stuff that we're gonna be doing on the Football Guys Fantasy Football Show, going even into like app by app of Yahoo,
Mhm.
ESPN, Sleeper, how to beat the ADP that you find there. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we're gonna be doing. So make sure you're subscribed to that.
I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're doing this draft live. We're doing it on Twitter and the Football Guys YouTube every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to subscribe so you can see this when we're coming back next week. I don't know who the guest is going to be next week, but I'll figure it out before Wednesday. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next Wednesday.